because this is very, very important in terms of what our recruiting strategies are to get people in the seats. You know, we want to make sure we have a great program, but if we don't have enough people, it doesn't really mean anything. So Agnes Leskowska is the director of education recruitment. She's been with us. Is it over 10 years or is it
No, it just seems that way. 7.
7 years? DJ Kaney is IT consultant. He's been working with me for over 20 years. Yanni is our liaison to all associations, and Jasona is in charge of marketing and communication strategy. So with that, I'm going to turn it over first to educational recruiters, and this is really, Agnes, what your group does. Like, go maybe by time, you know, when you start and what you do, all the way through confirmation.
Sure. So my team and I, we're responsible for placing plan sponsors in the seats at the programs by reaching out to them, calling them, emailing them invitations, making sure that we're reaching the correct decision makers. We start recruiting about between 6 to 8 weeks prior to the program. Usually it's 6. However, if we're recruiting for an area we've never been to, we start earlier. Or if it's an area that we haven't been to in a very long time, we give ourselves a little more time that way. So we do all that, and then we do have a very rigorous confirmation process. About a week out, it starts to make sure that, you know, the people who registered are going to attend. They have the driving and parking information. If it's a virtual program, that they have the Zoom link available to access the training, those kind of things. I did want to mention that if you have, clients or prospective clients that you're interested in having them attend, we are open to making those calls and reaching out to them for you. We find that it's, especially if it's a prospective client, that if it's a third party like us reaching out, it's a little easier than if it would be you as a financial advisor reaching out. So we've been successful with that in the past. Also, having an agenda as soon as possible is great. It's very helpful to us because we can actually engage the plan sponsors in conversation on what topics will be covered. So it opens up a lot of opportunity for us that way as well. That's really
to that, Agnes, to that point. If you give us the title and you haven't finished the presentation, that's okay. If later on you decide you want to change the title and change your presentation, that's okay. So the earlier you get it out, as well as the keynote and knowing who the panelists are, they're not going to know the names of the panelists, but they're going to know the names of the companies, and it just fills it out. So it's in your interest to get these. It'll help us with recruiting and have more people at your program. So it's a very good point. Thank you, Agnes.
sure.
So the other thing, one of the other things we do is we have a database, and we send out to your area email marketing. There is exclusivity in terms of we're not going to market in somebody else's zone, but if the zone is open and you do want clients from that area, that's okay. We'll do that as long as it is still open. And then you might have clients in virtual, remote areas, and if you want, we get at least 5 registrations. Then we can also do a hybrid program where we can have them attend if it's not realistic for them to come. So DJ, will you explain a little bit about our database and what it includes?
Sure. So we, Agnes already talked about some of this, and I'm sure Jasona will cover some of it. Essentially, our education recruiters started calling using 5,500 form data starting back in 2013. While that data has been continuously updated through their active outreach and calling efforts, We also use a third-party firm who provides us not only with the new updated 5500 data, but they also append that data with additional contact and email information using technology that gets current information from places such as the company websites and LinkedIn. So we get more information than that, just that what's provided through the 5500. So on top of calling to keep our emails current, we also scrub those emails through a list validation service to eliminate any bad email addresses. And then an email blast is sent out directly from TPSU promoting the program about 6 to 8 weeks prior. And then using the data, we then focus direct outreach through the calling for your zone for each program by first targeting the plan sponsors by plan assets, as well as those closest to the distance, closest in distance to the venue. So we manage all that through our data management system, where we track all of that data going back. So.
And Jasona, could you just go through what we do email and how often when we start this email marketing?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So just to piggyback off of what DJ said, so we do send a program, a promotional marketing email that we send about 60 days in advance prior to the program. And as Fred mentioned, we do target that area. And so that's sent once, which is 60 days out. And then we will occasionally resend and sort of change around the marketing, the subject and everything, so that we can just kind of push for that specific area. So that's what we do concerning email marketing in regards to zones and specific areas for the programs.
Right. And Yanni, why don't you talk a little bit about associations and what we do there?
Sure. Hi, my name is Yanni, and I pretty much deal with all the associations, and the way that that we do collaborate with associations in regards to recruiting is I have a partnership with the local SHRMs as well as HRCI, where I will reach out about 8 weeks from the start of the program. I start reaching out, trying to see when the availability is for us to market with them to their members. And 4 to 6 weeks out before the program, we will send out an e-blast or a newsletter. Sometimes we'll even market on the website of the local SHRM, or sometimes we've done the Chamber of Commerce will do a meeting, and we'll have the adjunct lecturer come out and speak and advertise the program there. And all of this is obviously to be able to recruit those plan sponsors to come to the program. A good feature that we have is because we are partnered with HRCI and SHRM, and we give those CE credits. It's something that it brings out more people because they know that they can get those CE credits, and that's part of the advertisement that we use for them.
And also, if you have, if you know of prolific associations in your area that a lot of plan sponsors are members of, or if you have a relationship or are a member of the association, that's very helpful to us, because when we reach out and if they know you, they're going to be more cooperative there. And there are, like in Hawaii, there's it's not a local SHRM, but there's an employee benefits association that really does. To that point too, and I don't think Isabel mentioned it, we also rely on you to tell us, and we try to do it as well, is there a statewide or local conference, an HR conference that might conflict with us? We don't want to do anything within a week before, maybe even 2 weeks before. So we do try to look and see what kind of association, but if there are association, you don't want to schedule your meeting close to that, because we're just going to cripple our ability to recruit.
Yeah, that's one thing. I also reach out to the SHRMs and ask them if when their local conferences are, and I try to keep that maintained in our collaborative calendar so that when Isabella reaches out to the adjunct lecturers and lets them know, hey, we can't do it around this time because there's a local conference at this moment. Just to kind of not conflict and take people away from the local conference, because they won't, they'll probably go to that instead. And so that way it will avoid any conflict and make sure that we get the most successful program as possible.
So before just sort of talks about the website, two things on registration. Number one, if you're inviting plan sponsors to attend, whether clients, prospects, or people that you know, have them register on the site themselves. We find that if you get the list and register for them, our show rate is close to zero. When they register, now they're in our system, they're getting reminders, Outlook calendars, and then also Agnes and her group will be confirming. So make sure you do that. And then your providers that are sponsoring and speaking, they should not be registering on our website. We just need their names so we can have their tent card and their name tag. They're not going to be on the sign-in sheet. A lot of times they'll say, oh, the sponsor might have paid a lot of money. There's no name tag or tent card. And, they can make them. It's because we didn't get the name from you. So we need the names of all the sponsors, but we don't want them registering on the website. Do I have that right, Isabella? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's correct. I will keep an extra list of the lecturers' guests on my end, making sure they have name tags and tent cards. But of course, I rely on the information, what I get from the lecturer.
Okay. So just trying to talk a little bit about what we do with our website and 401k TV and LinkedIn.
Sure. So, as we mentioned previously, the TPSU website is a resource for the plan sponsors where they can find, anything from the schedule to the agendas for the upcoming programs. I believe that the website is updated as far as the schedule is concerned. I think 60 days out, all of the programs are listed on that website. So we have, as I said, the TPSU website. They can also find out more information about CE, everything concerning the programs. It's a hub where they can also register as well. We do link the TPSU website to 401k TV, which is a wealth of information. I mean, we have a wealth of just resources containing articles. We also have interviews that Fred himself does between he and at times at the end of the program, following the programs themselves, he will interview the plan sponsors, certain plan sponsors that he does choose. Also, sometimes adjunct lecturers, you yourself, sometimes Fred does have interviews with you as well. And we do feature those on the website. And we have a wide variety of categories for, as I said, the plan sponsors to choose from in terms of just where they can find a wealth of resource. So fiduciary and compliance, investments, plan design, engagement, and wellness. So this is just a good opportunity for them to learn more and to grow and have a greater understanding, even following the programs. So we'll link back to certain articles on LinkedIn. And that's, I think, where we're going to head to next, which is one of the major platforms that we use for social media. We do have platforms on Twitter, we have Facebook, and we have also Instagram, but LinkedIn is pretty much our central space where we try to foster a sense of community, sense of engagement, excitement, and that leads up to, Isabella, if you want to jump to the next slide. So the programs, what we do on LinkedIn is we do promote the programs with a simple graphic, as you see here. But the caption does provide a wide wealth of information just concerning this program in general. So you're as an adjunct lecturer will be tagged, the panelists will be tagged, the keynote speaker, any information that we can provide that will give even the topics concerning the program. And we post those 4 to 6 weeks in advance. So, you know, the best thing that I can subscribe to you guys is that once you get tagged, we're trying to build, and we have grown over the last year. I think we've jumped from around 500 followers to around 1,300 and growing. So we're trying to really build our just our growth on LinkedIn. So once you see that, just feel free to engage, comment, you know, as an adjunct lecturer, looking forward to this program. Once, you know, the comments get rolling, it's really, it's helpful in, you know, just creating more traffic, more engagement, and so that's a very helpful tool. So aside from what we do as far as the program is concerned with the just promotion, following the program, we do sort of like a debrief, which is, as you see here, just kind of like a template with that particular program that went on that particular day, or even following. We might do a post the day after. But it's just kind of a summary. And as you can see here, if, you know, the more likes, the more engagement, it's just the more traffic that is driven. And we want, as I said before, to build a sense of community for our LinkedIn page, excitement for the next programs. We can revisit, you know, certain posts and just continue to build that. I think that's really it. I think also, just so you're aware, on our LinkedIn, we do post those articles that I referred to that are on 401k TV. We will link back to those. We have a newsletter that's on LinkedIn, TPSU plan sponsor newsletter that we post the articles, the spread rights, and we do polls, you know, just fun stuff. So feel free to like, if you haven't followed us yet, follow us on our LinkedIn page. And that really kind of concludes what we do as far as LinkedIn. So.
We had a couple of questions. Barack asked, can we handle the distributing of certificate of attendance? We can, but it denies you another opportunity to touch in a meaningful way the plan sponsor. So the more that you can touch them, the more that you're reaching out, adding value, the better it is. So it's not like we don't want to do the work. We're happy to do the work, but we think that it's an opportunity that we strongly encourage you to take advantage of. Literally, it's sending it out. You can, you know, you don't have to do, well, you have to do one at a time. Hopefully that's a lot of work, because that means that you have a lot of people attending your program, but we're happy to do it if you would like us to do it. And then Dennis asked where we get the emails from. We get them from the 5500 database. We also, the third-party vendor we use scrapes, you know, websites, LinkedIn, and gets website email, but we're also getting it through subscribers. We have 33,000 subscribers to 401k TV. And when we're out recruiting, and Agnes's group is calling, she gets emails and additional, oh, this person left the company, here is the new person in charge. So it's a combination. Am I missing any other source, DJ?
No, we are very careful with our email addresses, though, because I'd say, Fred, to that last point, Agnes's group really gets the bulk of the good email addresses, because they're identifying the contacts that are going to be coming to these programs. So that's probably the best source of email addresses that we have.
Right.
And we get those through, you know, we do a little research before we start calling a company. Usually we'll use Google. LinkedIn is a great source. We'll reach out to the person, ask them for the email. We get the email. So we've been doing, I think, a really good job with that.
We have licensed LinkedIn Navigator to identify by location, by plan size, by job description, but we're finding it's not a great way to do mass email marketing. It's better coming from our database and coming from us. And then we do have questions. Oh, can you share the database of emails? And we can't because they're all put together into one database, and some of that come from a third party that we license, and we're not allowed to share that from. So it's not like we can separate out. It's just one database for us from many, many sources, and that one source does not allow us to do that. So